Good morning. Thank you guys so much for connecting with us this morning. Good morning. Tell you thanks for connecting. Good morning, Anita. Thanks so much for connecting this morning. Thank you guys so much for connecting. I'm going to give a few more people a chance to connect with us this morning. We'll be getting started here in just a moment. Good morning, Britt. Good morning, Miss Hoy. Thanks for connecting with us. We're going to give about another minute or so, and we'll be getting started. I pray that all you guys had a great week, a great weekend. We're going to go ahead and get started. I might take a couple more sips of my coffee. I lost track of time this morning, so I didn't get my caffeine. So I pray you guys have had a great week so far. My week has been great, no complaints. Can you guys believe that we are literally almost halfway through the month already? That's insane. That is insane. Today is the 12th. It's just like time is flying. But, you know, I think great things are happening. There's a lot going on. Good morning, Sephoria. There's a lot going on, you know, nationally here. There's a lot going on globally, but there's a lot going on nationally. The stuff that's going on in California and some of the stuff on the East Coast, the winter storm that's moving across the country. We have another one that we're preparing for in the next 7 days, I believe it is. Have another Arctic blast coming through. So it's a lot going on politically. We have a lot of things going on. We're just days away from January 20th. So when January 20th comes, new administration takes the office, that's going to, I guess, impact us with some change. And we are just prayerful that the change that comes, we're prayerful that the Lord will continue to cover us as He always has. We've never been just down and out based upon what is happening in the world around us. It's always been based upon the God that loves us, right? And so we will continue to have our hope in God. Good morning, Lucy. We'll continue to have our hope in God as we move forward into this upcoming year. So I want to say this before I go into what I'm sharing this morning. What you entertain, right? What you entertain, what you look at, what you look up on, what you are observing consistently, it will impact. It will definitely impact the way you feel about what's going on around you. So I want you guys to balance some of what you're observing, what you're looking at, what you're witnessing from day to day. Balance it. Don't just look at all of the horrific things that's going on, but you have to have balance with that. Make sure that you look at some of the positive things that are happening in the world that you live in, whatever that world consists of. Don't always just look up on the negative. It's going to be there whenever you need to glance at it. I promise you it's not going anywhere, but make sure that you're intentional about looking for something that will resemble hope and give you the hope that you desire and that you need to move forward successfully and throughout this year, be able to conquer everything that you desire to conquer and or accomplish. This morning, I'm going to share a little passage out of 2 Corinthians chapter 9, because I believe this should be the mind of everyone that is a believer. And I'm saying believer, not necessarily Christians, because all Christians don't necessarily believe. I think if you've been on this journey for some time, you've ran across people who, identify as being a Christian, but they are not necessarily believers of God's word and or of His power, the power of His word. But this passage I want to share with you this morning. It's in 2 Corinthians. Let's start at verse number 8. I'll just read three passages. Yeah. Verse number 8, it says, "And God is able to make all grace abound towards you, that ye always having all sufficiency in all things may abound to every good work. As it is written, He hath dispersed abroad, He hath given to the poor, His righteousness remaineth." Verse number 10 says, "Now he that ministereth seed to the sower, both minister bread for food, and multiply your seed sown, and increase the fruits of your righteousness." Okay, so this is where you want to be, friends, right here. This is the headspace you want to be in this year. You want to be in the headspace where you understand that God's grace, all of God's grace, is abounding towards you. You know, it is not something that is for the next person. God has grace for you this year. And I want you to just say that if you have to say it to yourself or say it out loud. Right now, I just want you to say, God has grace for me. God has grace for me for this year. 2025, there is grace for you in 2025. You don't have to do it just, cold turkey, so to speak. There is grace for you for this year. And you have to understand that God will never bring you into a thing without giving you the adequate amount of grace to be able to endure and complete the thing that he's brought before you or accomplish the thing that he's brought before you. With that being said, again, God has grace for you in 2025. There's grace that has been given to you, and this grace that is upon your life now, listen to what I'm saying. The grace that is upon your life at this very moment is enough grace for you to accomplish and conquer everything that you will face in 2025. Okay, because I'm going to tell you something. This journey through this year, the journey is going to be different. Okay, it's going to be different because it's almost like what I'm foreseeing is I'm foreseeing almost like chaos going on around us, but we are going to have the grace to remain unbothered by it. Are you listening to me? You will be unbothered by what's going on because of the grace of God that is on your life. And if you will walk in this grace, he's going to be able to keep you in his peace, right? You walk in this grace that abound towards you. Walk in that. Know that anytime anything come up, anytime you hear anything, see anything, read anything that is startling or troubling, just remind yourself, but there's grace for me to do 2025. There's grace for you to do this. And it's grace for you to do it in a way that you will be unbothered by some of the things that may challenge others. You'll see the challenge, you'll face the challenge, you'll conquer the challenge, and you will not be in an uproar. In times past, we've endured things, and even though we would overcome those things, we were so exhausted by just going through it until we could not appreciate the fact that we had conquered it. We could not appreciate the fact that it was over. But what I'm saying to you today is that this grace that God has for us to conquer this year, this grace is there, and it has already predetermined the full measure that you'll need to finish this year and finish this year according to the will of God. But you have to know that you're walking in this grace. And it goes on to say that in verse number 10, it says, now he that ministers seed to the sower, both minister bread for your food and multiply your seed sown and increase the fruits of your righteousness. Now, here is what I want to talk about. It says, he that ministers seed to the sower also or both minister bread for your food. Now, listen, I want you to understand in this year, and you need to decree and declare this over your life because of what's ahead of us. God will give you both seed and bread. Okay? God's going to give you seed and bread. Okay? Now, listen at this. You have to be careful that you eat your bread and not your seed. Eat your bread and not your seed. Your seed is to be sown because your seed represents what your future will manifest, right? Your seed is representation of what your future will manifest. So when it comes to your seed and your bread, know that God's going to supply your needs, right? He's going to give you the essentials, the things that you need. But in addition to that, he's going to give you seed to sow. And so your seed is an investment in your future. So make sure that you are being aware of how it is or where it is you are sowing your seed, right? So this is going to be important to your future. It may not be as important to your today as it will be your future, but there's going to come a time when you'll look back and you'll see and know that I am here because I sowed seed to be here, or I am here because I failed to sow seed to be where it is that I desired to be. And when I say sow seed, I know all of us have been in church and we automatically assume that we're talking about offering time. We are not talking about offering time, because you can sow into many other things other than the offering plate, right? Not to negate the significance of doing that, because that is very important. And I am where I am in life today as a result of that. So I am not knocking that principle at all. But I do know that you have to have other things in addition to that, and I know that, this is not a business coaching session, but we have to become more proactive as it relates to our level of engagement in our future. Like, you cannot just keep waiting for one New Year's Eve when the man of God said this next year is your year. God said it's your time now, and think that something magical is going to happen. You have to set up for these things, because we have the opportunity, the responsibility, and the provision by God. It's right here in the text. He that ministereth seed to the sower, right? He's going to give you the resources to make the proper investments. He's going to give you seed. He's going to give you a representation of your future, and see how it is that you would invest it and multiply it, because you will not be able to have the tomorrow that you desire if you do the exact same thing you did yesterday, right? You have to continue to evolve. And so when he is giving us seed and when he's giving us provision, we make sure that we are taking our provisions, our daily bread as we need it, and we are grateful and thankful for that. But whenever he is giving us seed, let us be discerning, saying, hey, look, I need to do something different here. Like this cannot just be vacation money, or this cannot just be go out to dinner money, or this cannot just be extra time where I can lay down and watch Netflix and chill all day. Sometimes he'll give you time in seed form, and you can sow your time into different things, learning different things, increasing your knowledge, increasing your awareness of certain things, which will ultimately pay rewards and profits in the future. But you have to be able to make sure you are applying yourself, or you are sowing those seeds, whatever it is he gives you. If he gives you a relationship, make sure that you understand those relationships that you are supposed to sow into. I have people in my life that I have committed to the next 12 months to just sowing into that relationship, because I believe in it, and I believe that God has given me this time to sow into those relationships. And I believe that in the future, those relationships will resemble or reflect the multiplicity of things that will be as a result of what's being sown this year. You have to be able to recognize the difference between your seed and your bread, right? You have to be able to recognize the difference between seed and bread, because he's going to give you your daily bread as needed. But your seed, he's going to multiply it. He's going to multiply that, because your seed is what you put back into the earth. It's not what you get out of the earth. The bread is what you get out of the earth. It's what you get out of life. But your seed is what you put into it. And so, as it relates to your life, the question to ponder this morning is, what are you sowing into your life? What are you putting into your life that God can multiply? Can he multiply what it is that you are investing in the world that you live in? And when I say world, I'm not talking about the planet. I'm talking about your vortex, the world that you live in. What are you putting into it that God can multiply? What is it? If he would multiply all of your actions right now, what would you have? What would you have an abundance of? Because abundance The bountiful blessings of the Lord is going to be as a result of seed that is sown. Because now watch this. The reason why it's important to sow the seed is because the seed can be multiplied. But other than that, if you're trying to do it just on your works, just on, what you do every day, you will have to create this one day at a time. But whenever you put it in seed form and you sow it, it's able to be multiplied. You can eat an apple every day, but if you sow the apple seeds, sooner or later you'll have an apple tree and you'll have multiple apples at the same time instead of having one apple at a time. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same is true as it relates to life. We have to be able and be in a position and be prepared and be aware that God is giving us seed to sow every day. I'm not just talking about your bank account. So don't look at your bank account and say, God ain't gave me nothing to work with today. I'm not talking about that. He give us seed in so many different forms. And you have to be able to recognize and ask yourself and ask God, Lord, what can I sow right now? I dare you to begin to pray, Lord, give me seed to sow. When I say seed to sow, again, I'm not talking about the offering bucket. I'm not. When you say, God, give me seed to sow, watch, he'll free up some time. He'll send somebody across your path. He'll give you wisdom or insight about certain subject matters, and you'll be able to share and invest that same wisdom and insight into others. And you will not be a hoarder or one that eat your bread and your seed. And the more you begin to sow, the more it begins to multiply. And before you know it, you're living in abundance as a result of seed that you've sown. All God can do is give you the seed, but you have to do the work. Okay? He's going to give you seed. He's not going to sow it for you. You have to be able to be of the mindset that says, hey, listen, if you give me the seed, I'll do the work. I'll plow the ground. I'll put the seed in the ground. I'll make sure that it's watered, and I'll keep it until it is manifesting according to the seed that has been sown. You have to do the work. He's given the work to us to do. And we have to do that. The scripture says, it says that he will multiply the seed sown and increase the fruits of your righteousness. Some of you guys, now watch this, and I don't mean to come across critical if it sounds that way, but some of you guys will be able to do, or you would do more good if you had more to work with, right? You will do more good if you have to work with. Because what you're working with right now and the good that you're doing right now is great. But if you had more resources to work with, you would do twice as much as what you're doing right now, right? So this is why it's important for you to sow your seeds whenever God give it to you. Sow those seeds so that it could be multiplied and you will begin to do more, because the scripture says that he's going to multiply your seed and increase the fruit of your righteousness as a result of the multiplication of your seed. You'll have more to work with. You'll have more ideas. You'll have more wisdom. You'll have more counsel. You'll have more insight. You'll have more knowledge of certain things. You'll have more understanding of certain things, and you'll be able to help more people with that. If you're planning to be blessed, if you're planning to live in the prosperity that God has intended for you to live in, if you're planning to do that, your plan must include other people. Because if it's just for you, I promise it ain't going nowhere. If you think God's going to bless you for you, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. That's like dying with a seed in your hand. It just, I mean, it's pointless. It doesn't make sense. But when you have a plan of action to enrich your community, when I say your community, I'm not necessarily talking about your neighborhood. I'm talking about your associates, your friends, the people that look up to you, the people that look to you, the people that you look to, the people that you walk in unity and in agreement with. You have to have a plan to enrich those connections, those communities in your life, so that whenever God begin to multiply what He's given you, what He's given you in seed form, when He began to multiply that, then others will be enriched. Others will be enriched. And I know this is not popular to talk about anymore, but people need to not just see you blessed, but they also need to know that you are blessed because you serve a God that is faithful. And what you had to work with was very little, because there are a lot of people that have a little to work with and they think what they have to work with is not enough. But that little seed that they have to work with, if they would just sow that, if they would show that, I don't care if you just have the ability to make people smile or make people laugh. So that. You understand what I'm saying? Some of you have incredible knowledge about different things. Sow that knowledge. Enlighten people around you and watch God begin to multiply it. And it will manifest the future that you desire to live, because God's going to give you everything you need to sow into what it is you desire. Did you catch that? God will give you, has given you right now at this very moment, everything that you need to sow into the future that you desire. But you have to be in a position to understand, or you have to be of the mind to understand that this is not for right now. This is for the future. Now, I could partake of it right now, but I won't get the same results as I would get if I was to allow it to be sown and manifest in the future. I don't care how many watermelon seeds you eat, you will not get pregnant with that watermelon. I remember we used to be afraid to eat watermelon seeds when we were kids, because we thought if you swallow a watermelon seed, a watermelon's going to grow in your belly, right? But that's not how seed work. So if you're consuming everything of yourself that you have to work with right now, you have no expectation for the future. But if you're taking what you have right now and you're sowing and say, hey, look, I got this right now, but it's really not enough for me to do anything with right now, so I'm just going to start sowing this into other people. I don't care if it's your text message. If you send out text messages to certain people on certain days, but consistently sowing those things, not looking at the ground saying, okay, I just sowed a seed, where's my fruit? Because God's going to multiply it. And I promise, when it's multiplied, this thing you got to understand by seed. Seed doesn't look the same way going into the ground as it does when it come out. So if you're looking for your seed to come back the same way that it was sown, then you're gonna miss the multiplication. You're gonna miss the manifestation. Seed look one way being sown, but it looks totally different being reaped. My God, man, I hope y'all get that. Because and this is to help you balance your expectation so that you won't have a false sense of expectation. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to look the same whenever it's manifest and it's multiplied. And when it comes to the fullness of time, it won't look the same as it did whenever you sowed the seed originally. That little time that you're spending right now investing in your future, you're sowing into your tomorrow, that time is not going to look the same. It's going to manifest something different in the future. And so your challenge again is to ask God, what seed have you given me to sow into 2025? And if you cannot figure that out, you don't know what that is, then pray and ask the Lord, give me seed to sow. I need something to sow into my future. Give me something to sow. Verse number 10 says, he that ministereth seed, which means that God will distribute seed, but he gives seed to sowers, and you have to be a sower. In other words, you have to be willing to do the work and not be afraid of putting the work in, so that the outcome can be greater than the initial work that's been done. And this is the way that you're able to continue to sow consistently. Your efforts will not go unrewarded. God will not forget your labor of love, dedication, loyalty, discipline, obedience. He doesn't forget it. And it's our responsibility to be consistent, because out of it flows the prosperity of God. Out of it flows the peace of God, flows the blessings of God. But you have to sow those things. You have to sow those things. You need to sow time. Now watch this. You also have to sow time into your mental health. Sow into your mental health. Read things that's going to help you think better. Read things that's going to empower yourself with knowledge that's going to help you be better as a person. Talk better, respond better. You cannot be walking around in the same knowledge that you had for years thinking that somehow that knowledge is going to change your future when it hasn't yet. If the knowledge that you're walking in today have not created the life that you desire, I think that you need to switch up your diet and start sowing different bits of information into yourself. Sow knowledge of other things into yourself, into the world around you. This is how real change happens. As it relates to your spirit, your soul, God's going to change that. He don't need your help. But your life, it's on you. It's on you to do the work. We have that responsibility. And not only do we have the responsibility, and so this is something that I do to psych myself out, because the word responsibility, I mean, when somebody, I want to add to your responsibilities, if you've been like me and always had a lot of responsibility, last thing you want to hear about is responsibility. So I often use the word responsibility when I'm talking to me interchangeably with opportunity, because we all want an opportunity. And so whenever I look at certain things, I don't, and I say, okay, I have the opportunity to do this. If I say I have the responsibility, it's just something about the carnal man. It's something about my flesh that's going to be like, oh, okay, I'll do it. But if I say to myself, I have the opportunity to do it, I'm going to want to jump on the opportunity. I'm not going to want the opportunity to pass me by. So I will be a little bit more inspired and energetic to jump on the opportunity to do something. Because, whenever you have people who are dealing with procrastination, and I have clients that really struggle with procrastination a lot. And these clients, when the reason they struggle with procrastination is because they don't like responsibility. They don't like being responsible for certain things. And so even something as simple as organizing your closet, when they say, oh, I'm off Saturday, I got to organize my closet. And they'll lay around Saturday and scroll on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and then they'll binge watch a little of their favorite television series, and then they'll go and get something to eat, make phone calls, text messages, and all this stuff. And then by the end of the day, they'll be like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it because I got to go back to work tomorrow, and I'm not even going to start. But if you wake up and you say, or today you say, I'm going to be off tomorrow, so I'll have the opportunity to take care of my closet. If you view it as an opportunity, you're going to take it, because we're wired that way. We're wired to be more accepting of opportunities than responsibilities. And so what I'm saying to you is you have an opportunity to sow into the future that you desire. You have the opportunity. Are you listening to me? You have the opportunity today, this year, 2025, you have the opportunity to change every year that you will live hereafter. You have the opportunity. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do? You're going to pass on the opportunity. You're going to take your time accepting the opportunity, or are you going to take the opportunity and make the most of the opportunity and change your life by this opportunity that has been forwarded to you in the year of 2025? Are you going to accept this opportunity? Or are you going to view it as you're responsible for going through everything that you'll have to go through this year? And I tell you what, if you view it that way, you will literally be out of gas probably by the end of this month. Yeah. I think it's January 20, is it 23rd or 28th, something like that. They they call it Losers Day because on that day most people fall away from their resolutions that they make at the beginning of the year. That's a thing, like a real thing. And so, I'm saying if you view it as a responsibility or something you have to, if you don't maintain the perspective that this is an opportunity, you'll lose enthusiasm about it. And so all I'm saying to you is that God has given you the opportunity to sow seed into your future that will manifest as the dream that you're having today. The dream life that you have today, it will manifest in your future if you will sow the seeds into it to manifest. There's no other way around it. The scripture says in the book of Genesis, while the earth remained, there will always be seed time and harvest. It's no way around it. You do it every day. Whenever you get up and go to work, you sow 8 hours into your 40-hour work week, and you receive the harvest at the end of 40 hours or 80 hours if you get paid bi-weekly, or 30 days if you get paid monthly. You're sowing seed. Your time, you're sowing your time. As a result of you sowing your time on the job, the outcome is your paycheck. It's multiplied into dollars. But when you sow your time, you're not sowing dollars into your paycheck. You're sowing your time. You see what I'm saying? And that points back to the point that I made. The seed doesn't look the same coming out of the ground as it did going in the ground. Because when it was going in, it looked like you getting up at 6:30 in the morning and going to work for 8 hours and coming home and getting the house settled, getting your kids, your spouse, whatever, getting everything in order and doing it again. And you do that for 5 days or 10 days. And at the end of that, it manifests in a different form. But that form that it manifests in just happens to be exactly what you need whenever it comes through. Come on, somebody. I hope that you guys are understanding. It is so simple, and there's no way around it. And we try to find other ways. We try to find other ways to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to. That's the way that it works. And I'm telling you, if you would just work what you have the way that it works, the way that it's supposed to work, you'll be able to get exactly what it is that you desire out of it. And here is God just waiting for someone to put seed in the ground so that he could multiply. He's looking through your life saying, what can I multiply? What can I multiply for you? Do you have anything in the ground for me to multiply? What do you have? What have you sown that I can multiply? When you ask God to bless you, he's going to look for something to multiply in your life. What is it that I can multiply? What have you put in the ground? Because it's an irrevocable law. Seed time and harvest. So if I'm going to multiply anything, then there has to be seed that have been sown. If you're going to get a harvest off of anything, there has to be seed that have been sown. And so I'm looking for your seed. Your seed, not that's in your hand, but your seed that have been sown. And these principles, believe it or not, These are the same principles that corporate America operates by. Whenever a store is getting ready to open, a brand new store, they spend all this money in marketing. That's seed. They're not selling any products yet because the store isn't even complete. It's not even finished being built. That's seed. When you see people on the TikTok shop, right now everybody's selling these comforters or rugs. Every 4 or 5 scrolls, you're going to see them rugs or them comforters. Sometimes they have the sweatsuits and hoodies and all different stuff. Those people are sowing seed. What you're seeing is them, you're witnessing them sow their seeds. And at the end of their TikTok video, when people begin to place orders and after payment have been processed, then they receive the multiplication and the transformation of the seed that they had sown while we were watching it in real time. And you watch people sow seed in real time. All of these influencers, we watch them sow seed in real time. And while we're watching them sow seed in real time, we're not sowing nothing. You got to start doing something, man. I'm telling you. If you riding with me, you got to be ready to go because it's up, man. We're sowing seeds that will manifest the future that we desire. And our future is not somewhere in Never Land. Some of my investment partners, we say to each other every day, we're going to be rich tomorrow. And we're actually sowing seeds in order to be able to be rich tomorrow. And if you want to be rich tomorrow with me, I need for you to begin to sow the seed that God is giving you, whatever that is. I don't care if he's giving you a connection in prayer like never before. Begin to pray for people like you going crazy. And begin to speak over people's lives and speak into people's lives. And now let me say this to you guys, because I don't want y'all to start worrying people now. Don't call and say, people talking about, hey, you got a minute, I need to pray with you. And you start praying on the phone and they trying to finish what they doing and you going too long. I'm not talking about that. You don't even have to call people and talk to people. Most of you, I speak over your life and into your life often, and I don't even talk to you. Whenever you come to my mind, I'll speak a word over your life and into your life because I do understand that my words are seed power. And so whenever you call me and share certain things with me, the reason why I'm not as shocked is because I know I've spoken. And many of you have experienced times when you call to tell me something, I'm like, let me tell you. And I know because I've already sown seed through the power of my words. And so if that's what you have to work with right now, work that and watch God multiply and it manifests in your life in a different form. But the manifestation is going to be according to what God desires for you and what you desire for you. But you got to do it. You got to do it. And just arrive at the point to where you're like, okay, and it's settled in you that God will give you bread for food. So if you're spending all of your time in prayer, or if you're spending all of your faith on believing God to take care of your bare necessities, you're misusing your faith and you're missing the opportunity to do something else with your faith. God's going to be faithful. He's going to give us this day our daily bread. He's going to do that. And you got to trust him to do that, and you got to settle that. I mean, like, I don't know how all the time, but I know that God's going to take care of my needs. So I spend my faith a lot differently. I spend my faith on things for my future. I don't spend my faith trying to figure out what I'm going to eat today. Now, don't get me wrong, there was a time. There was a time. but I'm not at that time anymore. And many of you aren't. Many of you aren't. You guys are very blessed. And so you spend your faith on things that will enhance your life according to God's will for your life. God desires more for you than what it is that you're currently experiencing. This isn't everything. And if you think this is everything that God desires for you, then I think you need to get to know him a little better. Because he's a God of abundance. He's able to exceed this abundantly. And that is his will. That is his desire. Listen, y'all ain't said nothing. I went over time and ain't nobody said nothing to me. Look, I've got to let you guys go. I love this. I hope that I've said something to inspire you guys. I hope that you're encouraged. I hope that you're ready to take the opportunity that has been presented to you in the manifestation of 2025. I hope that you will take this opportunity and sow into this opportunity so that you can create the bountiful life that the Lord desires for you to have. I love you guys so much. If you need me before next Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, please, please, please reach out to me. I'll get back to you at my earliest convenience. Also, before you go and continue your day, please go and make a donation. Whatever it is that God has placed on your heart, if you're being blessed by these sessions, please go and make a donation. You can do that through Apple Pay, Zelle, Cash App, PayPal, however you need to do it. Reach out to me if you don't know how, or reach out to whomever invited you. But please go and make a donation if you're enjoying these sessions. I love you all, and I will see you next Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. I bid you blessings and Godspeed. Tell them me claim it, all of my blessings, my name it. With faith, me I go own it. Nothing shall get home it. Speak life, it is a new day. All things in my past, yeah. Welcome to the new year. Me step out in faith and no fear. Blessings go find me, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I miss if ever gonna find me here. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Money gonna find me here. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I miss the blessings gonna find me here. Oh na 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 na. Me claim it, all of my blessings, me name it. With faith, me I go own it. Nothing shall get home it. Speak life, it is a new day. All things in my past, yeah. Welcome to the new year. Me step out in faith and know